Hey, hello everyone. Welcome to the 121st edition of ClariTea Chat. Today we have with us Ekhlaque Bari, a veteran CIO of Jubilant, Foodworks, Fullerton, Max Live, HT Media, and GE, and now the founder of XdotO. Welcome to the session, Bari.
Thank you so much, Jagdish. Thank you for
So,
having me here.
hey, thanks, Bari. I know I've been after you for a long time, and later on only I realized that you've had genuine issues why you were like deferring me. But thanks for being on the session. Better late than never. So, Bari is the founder of XdotO. At XdotO, he unleashes people's version X.O, which is the best version of you or your business that can be. It's all about achieving transformative outcomes. So, Ekhlaque has, I would rather call Bari. Bari has 30 years of experience in technology management and digital transformation across manufacturing, media, financial services, uh, consumer food, and conglomerates. He recently hung up his boots to on corporate life and started XdotO. Welcome to the entrepreneurial club, Bari Bhai.
Thank you, Jagdish. Thank you again. It's
Yeah,
wonderful to be part of the Entrepreneurs Club.
absolutely. It's a fun journey, not easy, but it's fun. Yeah. So, continuing on his introduction, Bari blends technology, authenticity, and spirituality to drive transformative outcomes. From childhood, he has been very focused about his goals. He brings the same focus to digital transformation, where he starts with the outcomes and realizes them through technology. He'll also share, his own transformation coming out of the personal health crisis. His leadership philosophy is realizing God's divine gift turns work into fun. This gift is always of service to self and others. However, most of us are yet to discover this divine gift. We are swimmers competing with mountaineers and vice versa. So true, Bari. So we will cover, as I mentioned earlier, focus on goals, start with outcomes. These are the a few themes that we structure our clarity chat around. Managing talent. So he's been a long time in GE, grown there. So he'll share uh, talent from an employee perspective, managing talent, uh, being authentic personally and professionally, and adversity to spirituality. We'll end the chat with a rapid fire round to bring out the personal side of Bari and then a reverse question to me. For now, before we start on serious stuff, Bari, let's start with getting some energy going up. Please share the most interesting incident in your personal or professional life, something uh, which has guided you till date.
Hmm. Well, I since first of all, hello and good evening or a good day to the entire audience, everybody who's listening in, and thank you for joining. Since this is a chat between CIOs and about technology, uh, I want to start with the very beginning as to how, uh, uh, when I was in grade seven, is when I decided that computers is something that I wanted to make my career in, and I was passionate about, and ended up doing it. And the interesting thing is that computers came into our school when we were moving in from grade 7 to grade 8, and for you to get computers you needed 80 plus in PCM. I had 80 plus in physics and maths, but I had 79 in chemistry, so they wouldn't give me computers. I didn't get computers, I got technical drawing. But despite, I used to bunk my technical drawing class and I used to attend the computer classes from outside the classroom. And after the classes were done, whatever assignments were given to the students who were actually part of the class, I used to do their assignments. And that's how I started learning computers and technology.
Wow. So that's the focus that you had right from the beginning. As
Yes. And
uh,
the first program I wrote, I remember the first program was making the Doordarshan logo. You see,
oh
Doordarshan
wow.
logo is a bunch of semicircles, some painted, some unpainted. I clearly remember that being the first computer program I wrote.
No, awesome, awesome. So, well, we have many such stories and incidents about Bari as we go along. But before we go there, I want to acknowledge our audience. They are the ones who have been like behind 121 episodes so far. So we have CXOs, founders, IT managers, and seasoned technology industry leaders in our audience. All of us know that technology is necessary but not sufficient to drive business performance. The guests on Clarity Chat, like Bari, have built that bridge between necessary and sufficient with their art of managing technologies. And Clarity Chat builds that bridge between their learnings and all of you who are trying to make a powerful impact with technology. And so, thanks again, all of you, for joining us for the last 120 episodes and encouraging us with your interactions and questions. May I request all of you to share your name and where you're joining from in the comment box of LinkedIn or YouTube. Otherwise, me and Bari will feel that we are talking to each other. So make your presence felt, guys. And well, I think some of the guys are so aware of the process they don't even wait for me to mention it. And that's Amrinder there. Hey, thanks, Amrinder. Greetings to everyone from Nama Bengaluru. Good evening, Bari and Jagdish. Hey, thanks, Amrinder. Thanks for being always the first one. I'm sure you must have been you must have been a darling of your teachers, the first one in the class and raising the hands always. Well, your name also starts from A, so you must have been the first student anyway. Hey, but Amrinder, jokes apart, really grateful for you being present in every single Clarity Chat. I would say 90% plus of them. And so we have another one, the guy who's very familiar with the routine, Satya Prakash Bomraju, Sats as we call him. He's from Texas, and Texas means he is right now at, I think, 6:30 morning his time. So
Thank you so
really, yeah, yeah, yeah. Getting up early in the morning and attending Clarity Chat. It's thank you so much, Satya. Well, we have people joining in, making the presence felt. Thanks, Gopika from Gurgaon. Thank you, Gopika, for joining in. We have Amlesh Mishra. Thank you, Amlesh, for joining. And let's continue with our with the chat. So, Bari, let's start with an overview of your education, career, the company's roles, and maybe just one highlight of it, just to give a kind of broad map of your life to people.
Sure. I'm from a small town called Jamshedpur. It's a town founded by the Tatas. Uh, the railway station is called Tata Nagar. It's just a bunch of Tata factories there: Tata Steel, Tata Motors, Tata Rubber Factory. I've done my engineering from IIT Kharagpur. Uh, I'm a manufacturing engineer. There's a story behind why I took manufacturing. As I've told you, I always wanted computers, but in IIT my rank was such that I wouldn't get computers. So the next best thing that I decided was manufacturing, because it was computerized mechanical. Here you got to do programming of robots and programming of machines, so somewhat related to computers. And after completing my engineering, I joined Tata Motors, the same management trainee batch, 2 years. And what many people don't know, Jagdish, is during my time at Tata Motors, my my super boss, gave me an assignment of creating a business plan for a JV with Hitachi.
Oh, I didn't
Yes,
know
and
this.
I was working on a business plan, and I remember, the pressure of the situation getting to me, and me crying in my super boss's cabin that people are not supportive or I'm unable to do so, and then getting mentored there. But it was being thrown at the deep end very very early in my career. Made a business plan even without being doing my MBA. which leads me to my next phase. I went to SPJAN for my MBA, and that's where I met my girlfriend, now my wife, Radhika. And from SPJAN, uh, when I graduated, I joined GE, and I spent 14 years with GE. There are a few interesting things about GE. First, there is some ideas around seven, but I'll come to that later. But I have worked with almost all businesses of GE: GE headquarters, GE healthcare, GE plastics, GE aircraft engines, uh, GE energy, GE oil and gas. But the one GE company that I did not actually get a formal project, or sorry, did not get to work with, was GE Universal, which was the studios. But as part of the EIMP program, I got to do one project with GE Universal. So I covered all business of GE. After that, I joined HT Media as a group CIO, having spent 14 years with GE. And HT Media was a absolutely great experience, because it was my first experience with an Indian company outside of an MNC. And it was where the core business was under threat, which was the print business. And they had to create a lot of new business, like the radio business, education business, shine.com, job opportunities. So they're setting up parallel businesses to the core businesses. So that was an extremely valuable experience. And then one of the best stints of my life, Max Life Insurance, where I spent 4 years. Uh, that's where I truly discovered who I am as a leader and what is the impact technology can make to the business. Uh, we went from number 9 in online insurance to number 1, beating even the bigger banks, SBI, HDFC, and ICICI, in insurance sales online. And after Max Life, I got my first role reporting to the CEO. This was with a Temasek-owned NBFC. It was called Fullerton. It is now with a Japanese company, Sumimoto. It's called SMFG India. And this was in Bombay, where many things happened. We'll come to that later. And after COVID, there was a need to move back to closer to family in NCR. My in-laws live in the next tower. We wanted to move back to NCR, and there was an opportunity at Jubilant Foodworks. So my last stint, uh, from 2021 to 2023, was with Jubilant Foodworks. And in September of last year, I started on my own, founded XdotO. As Jagdish has already told you, uh, people, software, and businesses and industries have their version 1.0, 2.0, 3.0, 4.0. So XdotO is the best version of you. And that's the reason behind the name XdotO.
Awesome, 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 Bari. So, like, just recapping Bari's experience, again, that sharp focus on technology, starting from class 8th, and then not stopping even when he didn't get computers. He chose a discipline which was, where there was a play of computers. And then I think you didn't say it, if I'm correct, Bari, but you then did an MBA in information management at SPGN and joined the IT function in GE, right?
Yeah, so you see, this love for computers went for a so as I told you, I started learning computers standing outside the class, not being formally part of the class. And usually in Jamshedpur, wherever you do your 10th from, that's where you do your 11th and 12th from. But I changed schools and I went to a lower ranked school simply only because I could get computers. So I formally got computers in 11th and 12th as a subject. But then again, when it came to IIT, manufacturing is not known as computer science. So it was proxy computers, but not really formal computers. And then Tata Motors was a manufacturing stint. It wasn't a career in technology. So when I cleared SPJ entrance examination, looking at my marks, the panel suggested that I should take finance, because the quantitative assessment came out to be very good. But I said, can you give me information management? And they said, yes, yes, we can give you information management. And I took that. management despite all of the options available, because I wanted a formal degree in technology in
In
my name.
computers, yeah.
Which finally happened at masters. What started from grade 7th ended
Yeah,
up being
yeah,
completed
absolutely.
after my
Yes,
masters.
I think uh, what really stands out, Bari, and and we saw that, like, continuing later on also, is that you're very clear about what you want to do, and then you find the means to do it, like, standing outside the class, and then learning computers when you didn't get that, or, like, getting information management when finance could have been more lucrative. So tell us some more stories. I think you have quite a few stories there, and I find that these stories are, like, very, very inspirational, in a time when, we just go with the flow, right? It's like, I saw that, like, there are so many stories you have where you just, like, went for the goal, you decided what needs to be done, and then you somehow figured out the means to do it. Tell us more about those.
Yeah, sure. See, in hindsight, it appears to be so, and especially after the conversation with you. But at that time, and this is all in hindsight. Looking back, even my preparation for JE, first time I could not clear it. Next time I took all examinations and I cleared all entrance examinations: BIT, Mishra, RIT, Roorkee, ITBHU, everything that was possible. There wasn't a common entrance test; only JE was. Um, and then in the first year in Kharagpur, I decided that I used to listen to a lot of Jagjit Singh because my heart got broken a few times, and I resorted to ghazals, and Jagjit Singh was the king of ghazals. So in first year in Kharagpur, I decided we're going to get. When I reach final year, I want to be part of the steering committee of the college festival, and I'm going to get Jagjit Singh to perform at IIT Kharagpur, which we did. But the thing is, Jagjit Singh and the troupe took the entire festival budget. And therefore, we had to come up with double the budget, a usual budget, to be able to accommodate Jagjit Singh. And we did many things, selling stalls, printing 25 different versions of the college magazine so that we could sell the back cover multiple times.
25 times.
Yeah, so the back cover was 500 rupees, and if you printed only one version, which was the case for all years, and I think even after 94 that would have been the case, but we needed money, so I sold the back cover like 25 times. So we printed the and there were many other ways, many other things that were needed to make Jagjit Singh happen, but we
Tell us
didn't do it.
that. Tell us that electrical company one, that that incident.
So the thing is, during the college festival, Spring Fest, which is called, we used to have stalls, and the stalls were priced between 3K and 5K, half a stall and a full stall. And Kharagpur's market is called Prem Bazaar, and we are still we are still 50-60,000 rupees short in 1994 of the budget. So we were going shop by shop, trying to sell our stalls, and we happened to enter a BPL showroom. BPL used to be a used consumer goods, white goods brand in the 1990s. Many of you would know, and Philips was their competition. And the person seated at BPL, we told them, "Sir, हमारे college में festival है, please buy a stall from us." So he was sitting like that, and he said, stall. Some marketing budget has come from Calcutta, so maybe I could consider it. So how much is the stall for? And at that time, just at the spur of that moment, something occurred to me, and I mentioned that a 5,000 rupees stall to be priced at 35,000 rupees. So the person who was next to me, anybody from Kharagpur is listening, my batchmate. So the person next to me started my phone. What are you saying, 35,000? But I wanted to see the reaction. So the person did not flinch much. He said that 35,000 is a bit much. So can you guys lower it? So I'm like, sir, this is the best. This is the local discount we are giving. Outside of Kharagpur, it is actually more. But the person next to me is like, wow, come on. So we then told him that give us some time. We'll need special permission. And after 30 minutes of walking in the market, we went back into the BPL showroom and told him 30,000, and he bought the stall at 30,000. And before that, we had gone to Philips in Kolkata trying to sell a stall, and Philips had kicked us out of their office. But after selling the stall to BPL, we went to the Philips office again and told them BPL is putting up a stall. So Philips also bought another stall at 30,000. So what would
Wow.
have otherwise fetched 10,000 fetched us 60,000 rupees. Uh, this was big money in those times.
And the thing is that the whole thing started way back in first year that I want to get Jagdish Singh.
I want to get Jagjeet Singh, right? Right, and then this is so much you have to do. I remember I went to Bombay with a colleague of mine in Chappals in general class in the train, and from morning to evening, I had a list of all KGP alumni, and even for 100 rupee quarter page ad, we used to visit offices and sell 100 rupees ka quarter page ad, and we also visited Rusi Modi, and I've told you about the magazine cover. So many things that were done to be able to make Jagjit
Of course,
Singh.
Jagdish Singh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome, awesome. So no, I think the great takeaway here for everybody is that sometimes it actually you can be unreasonable, and but once there's also this whole saying that once you decide on something, the entire universe conspires for you to
True
achieve it. And I've seen these examples with the Bari, that you take up something very unreasonable. By the way, we spent time together in the engineers hall in Jamshedpur, and when we were first prepping for this, and I said, Bari, I know kitna khurafati tha tu. Okay. And I didn't
that.
know that he went to this extent in terms of getting Jagjit Singh and then selling those stalls. But of course, I mean, on a serious note, they definitely show that that you can say guts, or like just thinking big and then achieving it, and being on your feet, thinking on your feet in terms of ideas, right? Yeah. So once you are focused, the ideas flow.
Yes, once you have decided, you got to put in everything, and you actually, as you said, the universe will conspire. Ideas will come to you. Calls will come to you. Friends will emerge. Right, but you got to decide that this is what you want to do and just go after it with everything.
Absolutely, absolutely. So everyone out there who's listening, just go after your dreams, and be unreasonable with yourself. So
Yes.
Bari, let's come back to something more serious. I mean, we always um, we always see people struggling with talent, and as I'm seeing companies which are like which are growing, but they are gasping for talent, and all that, right? And you spent 14 years in GE, where you potentially worked in every single business, including Universal, a small stint and all that, right? You were part of multiple cadres, multiple roles. So tell us your insider, a grounds up view on now. A top down view is there in many forums and websites, and like books and all, in terms of how G manages talent, right? How is it from an employee experience point of view? Because I think there are a lot of entrepreneurs in our audience, who need that kind of advice on how what kind of people processes and philosophies and processes that you require. So tell us
Sure.
your story.
Yeah. So GE is no longer as big a brand as it was then. But in 1990s, 2000, I mean, GE was the thing. Jack Welch, legendary. He's legend. And GE is known for many things, and one of them is people practices. And I'm very fortunate to have worked with GE for 14 years. Um, whatever I am today is because of multitude of things: my parents, my upbringing, school, colleges, friends, everything. But a huge part of it is also because of GE. So I'm very thankful, very fortunate. I got to spend so many years with GE. A few things about their talent management, which was, we took for granted within GE. One, that they took bets, and they did not uh, when it came to people, it was not like, let me look at your age, you are now that you spent 15 years, therefore you're going to get this role of the management trainee. After my management training program, usually in any company across the world, after a management training, graduating from the management training program, you can get a senior manager, you know best case, AVP. But seldom I got to be a CIO right off the bat after 2 years, right? So I was CIO of GE Plastics India, because the entire GE Plastics India team had been changed, and they're looking for CIOs. Nobody wanted to join, but the guy who was graduating from the management training program applied, and I got selected. So they took bets on people, and you could see that some of the direct reports to Jack Welch were in their 30s, right? At that time. So they're very good at identifying talent and taking bets. The other thing that I noticed was they used to give a diverse exposure to people. Many companies follow this now, but I believe they learn from GE. You could be in marketing, you could be in technology, you could go to manufacturing, so you could move around the world. So I worked in US, Singapore, Netherlands, UK, and Italy, 5 countries, and India. So 6 countries I covered. And I've told you, I've worked across so many manufacturing businesses, financial services businesses. So there's a huge diversity of exposure diverse exposure that you get. The third thing is that they encourage you to try new things. They don't believe you settle in your comfort zone and spend 10, 15 years in a role. You become eligible to apply for an internal job posting after 18 months in being in a particular role. So you could effectively change your job every 18 months if you wish to. GE encourage that. So it took people was a huge deal in GE. Like everything, apart from business, it was all about people, and they knew it. They focused so much on L&D. I was sent to MIT for education. So they invested heavily in L&D. Invested heavily in people, bet big on people, irrespective of the age. It was meritocracy. Give people exposure, and encourage people to change jobs and roles and not get into the comfort zone. So I have carried all of those learnings in everything that I've done in GE and after GE. And talent management was a huge deal, big learning for me from GE.
No, awesome, awesome. A few takeaways. I think the biggest one of them is like taking bets on people. Having no age bar. For talent. I mean, you got your CIO role right after management training. I think when you say a lot of other companies have followed GE, definitely. Um, and I think all great companies have that philosophy. So now I was just recalling that in my case also, Tata Motors made me a CIO at the age of 37, and that
Mm.
was like when probably the previous CIO was like at 55. He retired as a CIO, and
Mm.
then the bet on talent. I mean, I had absolutely no experience in IT, and I came from sales and marketing, customer
Mm.
service. I'd probably done a CRM program more as a
Mm.
business manager. But
Wow.
taking a bet on talent, I think that's the biggest one, and that resonates with me definitely. I think the other one is like the courage to sorry.
Sorry,
Uh,
Jagdish, I just want to say, because we are talking about Tatas, Tatas, I believe, are great employers. Great employers. I'm saying this on a
awesome.
public forum. My dad worked with Tatas for 33 years. I was born, brought up in Tata Nagar. Tata is in my blood, and I know their. My dad used to pay 15 rupee rent for a two-bedroom house with a garden and a courtyard. Right, and we got all the facilities, medical facilities, everything.
Absolutely.
They are absolutely great employers. I'm also fortunate, apart from having the experience with GE, also fortunate to be part of the Tata family.
No, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, it says that you can leave Tata, but Tata will always be in your blood, and I can feel it.
My dad never forgave me for leaving Tata Motors and going for MBA. He was like, "What MBA? What GE? You got Tata. You're not going to move away from. Nobody leaves a job with Tata." So yeah, good that
Yeah,
you brought up that
absolutely.
point. And
Yeah, yeah. No, no, absolutely,
they are
absolutely.
awesome
But
employers.
it just,
Yeah,
yeah, it just resonated that when you said bets on
yes,
people, and I was like, oh my god, yeah. The company took a big bet on me too. And I think giving diverse experiences to people, not like siloing people into one geography or one role and all. Encouraging people to try new things. I think that's a big one actually.
yeah,
Because also because that innovation or trying new things always comes with a fear of failure and something going down. So it does require a lot of courage. I think all of these things require a lot of courage. And if I really think from the point of view of all the business folks who are here, or even all the leaders who are here, I think building an organization is a lot of courage in terms of trying new things, putting bets on people, etc., etc., right? And I think last but not the least, investing in people's training. So
yeah.
there is a tricky question here from Satya on the same theme. Let me bring it up. So Satya asked that you mentioned people and processes. Then what caused the perceived downfall of GE from when Israel PM used to say, "Give me GE and GM"? Okay, so let's focus on what caused the downfall of GE. I mean, to start with, maybe because I also worked for 3 years in GE, and whatever I saw was quite admirable. I think GE went down not because of people, but because of bets it took, not on people but on investments. Maybe your
Yes, yes,
view.
yes. So look, it's a $1 million question. I mean, I'm sure there are case studies in Harvard and other colleges on G and as to what went wrong. There isn't a one thing that you could say, oh, had they taken done this, they wouldn't have gone down. In fact, not many people know this, but G was the only company that was part of the Dow Jones index since its inception and remained part of Dow Jones up until a few years ago. No other all other companies that started with part of the Dow Jones index inception did not survive. GE was the only company that remained. Others came, left, so on and so forth. So it was that great a company. I think the first thing was the financial crisis of 2000. And GE had a huge GE Capital. GE was an industrial business by nature, but Jack Welch had built up GE Capital as a for generating cash because aircraft engines and other were long cycle businesses. So if you got an order, 3 years, 5 years down the line is when you get the revenue. So he had created that, but it kind of like Frankenstein with 2008 crisis. Handling a financial services company and an industrial company are two entirely different things. I think it just became too much for GE to be able to handle two large financial companies and industries. I think that's where the downfall kind of started, and they started to get rid of G Capital, and they completely got rid of G Capital. And then within the industrial businesses, you see, companies like IBM took a very early call that we are not going to make laptops, right? They sold Lenovo to so they knew that
This
the
one,
future, they wanted to be in a market where they could command a premium, but GE could not make some of those calls with respect to GE consumer products, GE lighting, and so they were in some commodity businesses where they could not compete and be number one, number two. There were some bad acquisitions also, and therefore it was just the portfolio of businesses that they invested in, they got rid of, or tried to consolidate. Those bets did not pay off. Hey, look, we always talk about successes because sometimes success is a result of decisions going right. Sometimes the decisions don't play out, and you end up in a situation like GE. Had they worked, some of these bets could have worked. They could have worked, but they didn't. And eventually, we saw GE lose ground on multiple industries, and then they had to split GE into two or three businesses now.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, I mean that's you're very right. I think the time when I think Jack Welch took those decisions to buy Universal and then the Tata then and the G Capital and all of that. For quite some time, those decisions proved to be right, and people hailed him. And I know once he left, those things became burden, and that global financial crisis happened. And I think
Do you know why Jack Welch bought Universal Studios?
what?
Because Sony Pictures bought Columbia. Sorry, Sony bought Columbia Pictures.
Ah,
Columbia
okay.
Pictures. So Jack Welch was very worried about Japan. So Japanese cars were making inroads into US, and Sony had just bought Columbia Pictures. So Jack Welch thought, as an American, I got to safeguard my America and my American businesses. So I will acquire Universal Studios. So Universal Studios acquisition was in response to Sony acquiring Columbia Pictures. It
Awesome.
had no, yeah, you are
Yeah,
an
yeah,
industry.
yeah. Otherwise, it had no rhyme or reason. Yeah,
Yeah, Universal Studios, right? That was a bet that also did not pay off. Like G Capital did pay off, but eventually declined. But Universal Studios is not something that worked for GE ever.
hey, meanwhile, there's a old friend here. He's joining us from Europe. He's joining us from Czech Republic, if I'm correct. Subbu, hey Subbu,
Hello,
thanks for being here. Uh, didn't realize you were here. Thank you for being there. And meanwhile, we have also Ravikant saying hi and Nitin Harne from Bangalore saying hi. Hi, Nitin. Thanks for joining us. So, Bari, there's a question from Amarinder. I'll come to it. Well, I think there is another question from Vijay. How about G Digital?
it's a great question, by the way. How about GE Digital? And again, I'm telling you, it is one of those bets that could have paid off. They tried to create the operating system platform for IoT, GE Digital, right? And they set up offices in California. They paid packages to compete with Amazon and Google's of the world. So they did everything that they. I mean, they could have possibly hired a consultant like BCG McKinsey. I don't know who consulted them. Who would have said, "Ki boss, you'll have to pay packages. You have to think digital. You have to get all the digital talent in one thing." Many digital transformation consulting companies say all of these things to build a successful digital business, and they did all of those things. I just think digital is in a DNA. Um, uh, by if I want to have a culture of Google, I can't do have the culture of Google by replicating the furniture and the office of Google, right? You got to be, it needs to come from inside, and the way to manage a digital business is very different from a way to manage industrial business.
Right.
So at the end of the day, the decisions on G Digital were being made by people who had very experience in industrial businesses, but who were not natively digital. So I think at some point of time there were some bets and the thinking that did not pay off.
Yeah, I
Uh,
think when I was hired into G Digital, when they were building G Digital, they were hiring from the industry, and I was one of the catches. And
mm,
so my insider view there, which was that I think what happened, over it's natural entropy. There used to be that Six Sigma culture of execution in GE, and I think that edge got blunted, and GE Digital was a lot more like presentations than Excels, right? um, and there was a lot more marketing than real rigorous execution. I think the Predix platform was a disaster. It was supposed to be like the platform like a
for
Windows or
IoT, yeah, yeah.
yeah, for IoT that was supposed to be the platform, and pretty much 1.0 and 2.0 didn't have interoperability, and I think that's what they lost. And they did a lot of things, which were like hogwash. So let's not get into that. We're losing a lot of time, but meanwhile, I think Vijay, you were there, if I'm correct, so you would know. If you're the same Vijay, I think. Okay, so Bari, before we go forward to your spiritual journey and authenticity and all, you said that Max life was what really brought out the true Bari in you, right?
Yeah.
uh, the one, the matrix neo in you. So tell us a
Mhm.
little bit more about that experience, and I think we can continue on the same theme of people, culture, and all of that, right? And what is it that
So,
that made that magic happen from number 9 to number 1?
yeah, so well, a lot of people know about GE, but very few people know about. I mean, relatively lesser people know about how great an employer Max Life is. Max Life, I believe, is the one of the very few employers who, if you go to a Max Life alumni and ask 100 of them, would you go back to Max Life? I believe that 99 out of 100 would say yes. Right, and that's because they also, like GE, focus a lot on people. They don't have a hire and fire culture. They bet on people, they bet on long term. They're people serving Max Life for 15, 20, 25, 30 years, and they encourage that. My individual experience with Max Life was that they let me be me. With some of the other companies, including GE and HT Media, I had to really guard myself and be like the corporate person that it requires you to be. And you know me from Tata Motors days. I have Khuraphati, and my friends know me. I love my drink. But I had to hold on to all of my colorful personality aspects in other jobs. Max Life, तेरे को जो करना है
Tell us,
कर,
tell us
as
that,
long
tell
as
us, tell us,
हाँ.
tell us, tell us that incident that you had where somebody said, no, no, no,
So
that's
on
that's
day one, I joined Max Life, and in the evening there was a welcome party, and I got totally sloshed in that welcome party, and people who are going to be joining my team kind of hugged them, and we had photographs and things like that, and the entire team is like, oh, another drunk, a drunkard is joining as our boss. Right. So next day I went to my boss and I said, Rishi, he's one of my favorite managers. I'm sorry I did this, but it won't happen again. He said, no, no, no. Please go ahead. If this is you, please let it be you, and you continue as long as you do your job. Then in the evening, the time is to enjoy. So enjoy yourself. So one of the things was Max Life celebrated success, and they encourage that you not only celebrate on a go live, you could celebrate on the milestones also. They let you be as long as so some goals were set at the end of the day. You need to implement this, or you need to create online portal and online products and online channel, but the means to achieve that end were flexible. So you were allowed to do whatever you believed was necessary to achieve those things. Right. So I got to hire and create a team that was needed to be created. Nobody questioned, why are you hiring an enterprise architect? Who is an enterprise architect? They trusted me to do the job. They let me be myself, and that's when I realized that when you are your authentic self. And let me just relate this to something which is happening right now, Jagdish. You see this Olympic shooter from Turkey who actually won a medal, yeah, without the lens and with the, you see,
the
and
jeans and
so,
t-shirt.
so on LinkedIn you're seeing so many posts, right? So one of the person who came first with all the gear, and the other one without any gear. And this is the important bit. Be authentic. The person who came first should not try to copy the person from Turkey saying, I'll also put my hand in the pocket and shoot without the headphones and without the lens. And the person from Turkey should not copy the person who came first. Go with what comes to you, what works for you, for what you are. Don't try and imitate and be Jack Welch. And the other example that I give is Manmohan Singh and Narendra Modi are both PMs, but do you think Narendra Modi can coach Manmohan Singh and say, "Hey, you got to be a PM like me"? Or Manmohan Singh would say, "Narendra Modi, you got to be a PM." It will not work. Narendra Modi needs to be himself, his personality, for him to be successful at the PM's job, and Manmohan Singh needs to job the way he does it best. So you got to be, while you can get inspired from Jack Welch or from Jagdish or from some of the other people that you will hear great things from, but see what comes to you naturally and do what comes to you naturally and be
Yeah,
your authentic
absolutely.
self. That's where you'll find a lot of success.
No,
And
absolutely. And I think on
that's
the
what I
on
want
the
to
yeah.
be myself.
So, Bari, I don't know if we were both in the same class because our batch was a pretty big one.
Yes.
Um, so we had I think a few days of in our GET days. We had this class on communication skills. Okay,
Hmm.
and so this very celebrated trainer he came, and we had got video recorded, and they played back the recording of us making a speech and all, and we were all laughing at it. But I think
Hmm.
right in the beginning of the session, when they said, you make a speech and we'll record it, he went around and asked, okay, so who do you want to speak like? Okay, and everyone said, like, somebody said Mahatma Gandhi, somebody said Martin Luther King, somebody said Indira Gandhi, and all that, right? And then he said, I didn't get the answer I wanted. And
Oh,
yeah, and he said that, you have to speak like you,
you.
not like Indira Gandhi or not
Absolutely.
like Martin Luther
Ah,
King.
correct.
That was, like, I think one of the biggest lessons from those training days that has stuck with me, that, you got to be authentic. You got to be who you are. Don't try to copy
Yes.
anybody. It's like, yeah, as you rightly said, you get inspired by a lot of people, but you have to be you ultimately, and you have to
You.
create your own style. Yeah. Okay,
Yes.
so Buddy, I'm also sort of aware of time. We are like 13 minutes away, so I don't want to miss out on your spiritual journey and how it started from a health crisis. If you can share with your audience.
Sure. So when I was in Bombay, I got diagnosed with brain tumor, and I went. See, I say I'm very fortunate. Well, you could say that I was unfortunate to have been diagnosed with brain tumor. But here is how I was fortunate. The surgeon, the best surgeon in the world, best surgeon in the world, was in Bombay, and I was in Bombay. I spent only 3 years in Bombay. The best surgeon was in Bombay, so I got operated upon by the best surgeon. But it took a couple of surgeries, and in between, very near death infection of meningitis in between. So I was on and off from the hospital. I actually hiccuped for 30 days continuously, non-stop, just hiccups, right? As part of that. When I came out of the hospital, the physical recovery took some time, around 3 to 6 months. But after the physical recovery, I went into depression, and just as I went into mental depression, COVID hit. So I I sunk even further. Thankfully, with the help of doctors, medicines, and the support of my family and my friends, I climbed out of it. But something, when you go through an experience like that, something changes inside you, right? And I got on the path of spirituality, which I want to tell my audience is different from religiosity, right? It's not about religion. You start asking questions: why are you here? What is the purpose in life? So I read a lot of books, and I've read almost all philosophies. So Tao Te Ching, Rumi, Vedant, Patanjali, the Yoga Guru, not the brand. Western philosophies, Alan Watts. I don't know if you have heard of Alan Watts. My favorite book, by a person called Michael Singer. And then what I realized after 2 3 years of reading and understanding, that Jagdish, you will be surprised that there is actually more things common between religions than differences.
I agree.
Everybody goes back to the same basic tenets and philosophies. Underlying the foundational beliefs are the same, on which some traditions and practices are covered. That's what is different. And but there are some common themes in on the spiritual journey that emerged. One of them that has been the biggest change in me, also discussed with my wife, and she says yes, I can see that change, is to accept what is happening. Right, there are things beyond your control. So let's say if Jagdish had not happened, now it was not worth killing yourself over, oh, you could not make, you're such a failure. यार ठीक है, आपने पूरी कोशिश की, हुआ हुआ, नहीं हुआ नहीं हुआ, ठीक है. So you have to think that, life is like a river, it's flowing, right? And don't try to move against the direction of the river. Just know, and you're in a tube and you can pedal and give the direction to the tube, but don't try and, um, if you're supposed to go out and started raining, it's beyond your control. So there's no point in creating stress and anxiety over, oh, this was an important meeting that I could not attend, so on and so forth. You accept things as they're happening, especially things that are beyond your control, and do whatever you can for things that are in your control. This everybody says this. uh, uh, and the second thing is what has been the topic of this session. All of us, the divinity, whichever way you call divinity, the power, God, Ram, Rahim, Allah, it doesn't matter what you call. All of us, we have been given a gift, right? And that gift is as unique as your DNA or your thumbprint, right? Jagdish has a different gift, I have a different gift. Everybody has a different gift. For example, Tendulkar has the gift of cricket, Lata Mangeshkar has the gift of singing. And you might have a gift to make good PPTs. You might have a gift to be a good orator. But it is, everybody has a gift. Everybody, without exception. Right? Small, medium, large, it doesn't matter which way you take it, but you have a divine gift. Just know that to be the absolute truth. And when you live this divine gift, you find this divine gift. Okay, let's say you're good at making PPTs, or you're good at making videos, or you're good at creating architecture, solution architectures, whatever that might be. When you start doing and living this divine gift, there are few things that happen. First thing, that it will make you happy. You will be in a state of flow. You will not notice it. Time has gone. Arey yaar, to raat ke 8 baje pata bhi nahi chala, and you will not be tired. Right? So it's fun. You enjoy it. You will benefit from it. Right? But the other unique thing about this, a very interesting thing, is it is always in service of others. Right? Let's take the example of Tendulkar and Lata Mangeshkar. Do you think Tendulkar's cricket is only for Tendulkar? There's so many people who have enjoyed. It's like, and that is why you say, when Tendulkar bat, it's like God batting, right? When Lata Mangeshkar sing, it's like goddess singing, right? So that is the divine gift, and it is, Lata Mangeshkar singing is not only for Lata Mangeshkar, it's for all the listeners, for Tendulkar. So your divine gift, whatever, if you're good at PPTs, it is serving some business or some people in some other ways, right? That is the nature of the divine gift. But unfortunately, several of us are unaware of our divine gifts. Even I was unaware of, what I've been given. I've discovered that there's a path to discovery. It's a journey. uh, and therefore I say, what if Lata Mangeshkar was playing cricket and Tendulkar was singing? Tendulkar would be like, yaar meko khali C grade movie mein singing milta hai. And Lata Mangeshkar was like, I'll never make it to the Indian team. You see, you are mountaineers competing with swimmers, or you're a swimmer competing with mountaineers, and you're thinking, oh, I'm not a good mountaineer. Well, get the mountaineers to the swimming pool and watch them lose to you, right? So when you find your divine gift, you will be really good at it. And and the further away you are from your divine gift. So let's say, you are a creator, and you happen to be doing a job that has zero creativity requirement, right? It is everything
Absolutely.
is told to you. It will create a lot of stress and anxiety in your life, right? The gap between your divine gift and what you meant to do and what you're doing, higher that gap is, the bigger the stress and anxiety. So if you want to bring that down, for Tendulkar, going to bat at 9 a.m. in the morning is not going to work, right? So
Absolutely. Yes.
yes, so find that
Not
divine gift.
seriously.
You will enjoy it, others will enjoy it, it will be of service to others, it will be fun all along. And
So, so Bari, there is a question which is like, continuing our discussion. So, Prabhakar is asking, how has spirituality helped in changing mindset and approach to leadership and consultancy?
Oh, great question, right? So, firstly, I'll tell you the thing that I talked about acceptance. Jagdish, you know that as an entrepreneur, there is some business development you have to do. So you contact so many people who could be potential customers. Some respond to you, some don't, and some of them you really want them to respond. You really want to work with them, but they don't. So there is more acceptance that has come in. Oh, this customer did not work out, this customer worked out, maybe this was not the right time. And I'm telling you, there are some customers who have gotten not at the time that I wanted, but maybe 3 months, 4 months later, when I was actually more ready to serve that customer. And some things never fructified, which I know they did not fructify, because had they fructified, it may not have been the best thing for me. So acceptance of things beyond your control and accepting things as they are is the first change that has come. And the second thing is, I still get calls for CIO roles. Okay. And I always ask myself a question. I'm not saying CIO role is wrong. I just imagine myself, what would I be doing as a CIO? So there will be a lot of work that I'll have to do to convince the management, this, that. And then I say, no, what I'm doing as an entrepreneur, I'm enjoying, creating videos, having these chats, writing articles, consulting companies, solving their problems. I'm enjoying that piece more. The kind of task that I have to do, where I'll do a CIO role, I may not enjoy. Somebody else might enjoy them, but I may not enjoy as much. So it is
Absolutely.
helping me make those choices, saying that I'm not going to go back to the CIO role because I'm loving what I'm doing.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's another one which is, I think, based on Amrinder is asking this question based on, I think, some recent articles that you have been writing about AI. So the question is, what did you find so transformative of AI that you got so involved with it, and what are some of the things that most folks get wrong about AI? Make it a rapid fire, Bari, because I have
Yeah,
got more rapid
yes,
fires for you after that.
actually, let me give you an interesting. First of all, especially generative AI kind of has an intersection with a. I have a leaning towards creativity, so I like visuals, I like creativity. So generative AI is something that works in that era. But the interesting thing, AI is human. Okay, I know that's a controversial statement. I'll tell you how AI is human, because while it has some great advantages and great strengths, it also comes with a lot of flaws, which is what makes you a human being. Right? You're not all
I
good.
agree.
There are some flaws you have. AI has those flaws. And what people get wrong about AI is they think AI will AI kar dega. No, AI is not autonomous, and or that AI is going to replace you. No, AI is going to has the computer replaced you? You could argue that, and I'm just writing an article. You can read it tomorrow. Uh, that AI is here to complement you. It's not humans versus AI. This is what people are getting wrong about AI. Is humans versus AI? No, it's not humans versus AI. It's going to be humans with AI versus humans without AI. Businesses with AI versus businesses without AI.
Okay, no, that's great. That's great. Amrinder, I hope you got your answer. So let's now focus on a very interesting part of our session, which is the rapid fire.
Hmm.
So, Bari, what is the importance of seven in your life?
See, seven is my seven is my for some reason seven is my number. I just all of my presentations, irrespective of they are version 19 or version 6 or version 3 or the first version, they're always saved. The final version is always saved as version 7. Um, I spent 14 years with GE, 7 years were with manufacturing businesses, 7 years were with financial services, 7 years was in infrastructure, 7 years was in application development, 7 years were inside in India, 7 years were outside India. So there are many ways in which seven has kept recurring in my life. How about you? Does seven resonate with you?
Oh yeah, yeah. So my birth date is 25, so that's seven. The most important, I would say, episode of my life, which is going to Kailash Mansarovar. I don't know.
Hmm.
It somehow so happened that um, our journey started on 7th July 2007. That is 070707. So I have a public album of my Kailash Mansarovar Yatra. The name is KMY 070707. That means 7th July 2007. And
Wow.
yeah, it so happens that you sometimes have those, like, those extraordinary days, right? And
Mhm.
generally it turns out to be, like, a day which is like a 7th or 16th or 25th when those things happen. I'm sure they're happening on other days also, but maybe I notice them when they are when it is a 7th anyway.
Mhm, 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 mhm.
Yeah. So tell us about a job you got despite having a strong argument in the interview.
Vinod Shivarama Krishnan, are you listening? Vinod Shivarama Krishnan is a respected CIO. He's right now with Group CIO for SR, and he was the hiring manager for GE when I was applying for the GE management training program from campus. There were 18 people in the information management batch. All 18 of us applied. 17 got shortlisted, and I was the only one that was not shortlisted because I did not have a formal computer science degree. You see, that's where it all comes in. But I told Vinod, I wrote to Vinod, I'm saying Vinod now, but at that time, sir, you're coming to the campus, you're interviewing 17 people, why don't you interview the 18th person also? So he said, yeah, it makes sense. एक और से क्या फर्क पड़ता है? So he interviewed me, and during the interview, the question was, can you measure the benefits of IT projects? I said, yes, you can measure the benefits. So he said, all IT projects. I said, yes, all IT projects. So he said, no, there are some things that you cannot measure the benefits of. I said, you can measure the benefit of everything. Sometimes the cost of measuring is more than the benefit itself. And I gave him the example that if you want to know how important a CFO is, just run the company without a CFO for 2 3 years, see how the company performs, and then you can say this is the value of the CFO. So there is a way to measure the benefit, but sometimes the measurement of benefits itself can be very expensive. But it was a very argumentative interview. Like I wouldn't leave my position, and as it is, I was not shortlisted. The only one that was not shortlisted, उस पर से interviewer से लड़के भी आ गया. तो उसका होने ही वाला नहीं है. But I got shortlisted, and eventually I was the only one not being shortlisted to the only one being selected from that batch of
Awesome,
18.
awesome. Okay, so your best lesson in building relationships.
Invest in them. Invest in relationships. And in 2006, my manager and I had a conversation on my performance management. I had overachieved my goals that were set at the beginning of the year. So he asked my manager to rate me top talent, and he said, I'll rate you highly valued. And I decided to resign, saying that, you are not you're not giving me a rating that I deserve. He said that, Ekhlaque, look, you're a person who I can rely on. If I give you a ball and say cross the field, I can close my eyes and you'll cross the field. But you got to look back and see how many people you have left dead or injured on the field. Because I used to be a hardcore task master. अगर जगदीश तेरा ये काम है, जगदीश ने काम नहीं किया, एक ईमेल भेजा तो जगदीश के मैनेजर के पास जाएगा, जगदीश के मैनेजर ने काम नहीं किया तो उसके मैनेजर के पास जाऊंगा मैं, टिल आई रीच टू द सीआईओ, मैं जैक वेल्च को भी लिख दूंगा. पर आई मीन आई वाज लाइक ruthless and complete taskmaster. And he said that, build relationships, bhaiya. So I decided that, okay, let me actually give it a shot. What my manager is saying, सुन लेते हैं. मतलब manager बना है तो कोई reason से ही बना होगा. And I can tell you that when I actually invested in relationships, I found that if you don't invest in a relationship, the maximum that you can expect from Jagdish is, what I deserve. Jagdish owes me this much. He owes me 100. He's going to give me 100. But if I invest in a relationship, the what I can get from Jagdish has no bounds. It could be 200, it could be 300, it could be just unimaginable things, and you get things done faster, easier than if you were to not invest in relationships. So I am
Absolutely,
a huge believer in building and investing and keeping relationships. Lifelong learning.
absolutely, absolutely. I think we all go through that rite of passage, as they call it. Like, like we start with like those go-getters, and then we realize that, what I mean. If you run fast, you can go a lot farther alone. But if you really want to put everybody together, then you got to be a little slow. Yeah. Okay. So I think let me bring in some audience. Good comments. I think Subbu is saying that when you make the divine as the center of life, you will always be at peace. I
True.
agree. Every one of us has the divine gift. When we connect with divine, we become aware of the divine gift. We continue to maximize the divine gift we all have within, received from the divine. Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely,
Yeah.
Subbu. Subbu has another observation. He says, superb to know you like the seven number. Seven is God's gifted number. Seven continents of the Rishi, seven hills of Tirumala. Every number
7 days
is
in a week, सात फेरे,
unique.
seven seas. So it's all.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, yeah. It's how you look at it. But he also qualifies it, saying that every number is unique and has a certain great qualities. Yes, absolutely, absolutely, Subbu. Bari, I think let's move on to close the session. We are a few minutes over time.
I want to
Uh,
ask you a question.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I was coming to that. Like I've been asking you questions. You've been on the block, so it's time for a revenge question.
I would call it a revenge question, but it's something that I really want to learn from you. This is your 121st Clarity Tea session, right? And you have had a chat with so many leaders during this time, uh, and so wonderful people would have joined, commented, questioned. Going back to your career and your life, what would you do differently after having had this experience, 121 sessions experience of Clarity Tea, and do it differently from your past? What would you do differently?
I think a lot of things actually. But I think one big thing that I would do differently is definitely, like, going a little slow, because I've always been in an overdrive.
Mm,
And I think the combined wisdom from all these sessions has been that, that it's end of the day, like, what you achieve together, how the business transforms, and some of it cannot be faster
yeah.
than a
Wow.
certain speed, right? And the second also is that, again, it came in a few sessions that, you have to put your best foot forward. It's that you cannot hurry in starting any of these digital initiatives. You got to have a good team. You got to have, like, a good let's say, agreement between all the stakeholders. Everyone should be clear about what is the future picture. So never hurry, because either you won't get support, or you won't get resources, or you will keep making changes along the way. So it's like, I mean, many sessions it came out that, the big difference between Indian companies and let's say, MNCs, is that MNCs spend 60% of the time on design and architecture and resourcing, and
Yeah.
40% time on execution, vice versa. And I'm like, oh
No,
my, I should have known this. I was like always hurrying up and, thinking that, okay, uh,
Japanese
yeah,
spend 60% of their time in building consensus.
absolutely, absolutely, yeah. So
Great
I would
learning.
have run a little slower, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I'm glad. I completely agree with you. There was a time when I wanted my even my weekends to be busy from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. That's how how much I wanted to work and make progress and push things through. And for the first time in my life, Jagdish, after I started this entrepreneur journey, I woke up one day and I was wondering what day of the week is this. Right? It has never happened to me, and I would have taken such an incident that you don't even know what day of the week in a negative uh, with a negative connotation. You don't even know what day of the week it is. I take it in a very positive connotation now. Wow, you are
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
relaxed that you don't even know what day of the week it is, and it's wonderful. It's a wonderful feeling.
Oh no, absolutely, absolutely. And, sometimes as an entrepreneur, in fact, till some time back, I used to, like, feel a little awkward, like, if I'm, like, relaxing on a weekday. And now I am, like, again, after the wisdom of all these clarity chats. By the way, many people ask me, like, how can I continue after so many sessions and all, and I'm like, boss, I'm the biggest beneficiary. I get so much of, like, wisdom by conducting this chat.
Awesome.
I'm actually much more relaxed now. There was one recent Sunday. My Sunday was very busy. And then on Monday I didn't feel like working. I didn't work actually. I was like sleeping half the time, watching TV and all. And I said, okay, I worked yesterday, so okay, it's okay. What if it's a Monday?
I've had those days, weekdays, where I've said, "Ki, I'm not going to work today. And it's all
Yeah,
right.
and that's the freedom you enjoy as an entrepreneur.
That is freedom. That is freedom. That is true
Absolutely.
freedom.
Absolutely. So, Bari, before I end, a quick maybe a few 2 minute summary of our session. Again, I started doing this after audience feedback that long session. Some people join sometime in between, so we should do a summary. We started with the most interesting incident from Bari's life, which was about he didn't make it to the computer class, so he bunked his normal class, stood outside the computer class, and that kind of that theme got repeated later on when we were talking about the focus, the focus on goals, and then achieving them unwaveringly, unreasonably. So his quick career, worked with Tata Motors, went to GE, got a fairly well-rounded view of a lot of industries and a lot of functions, and then that's, I would say, prepared him for the CIO roles that he played afterwards, starting from Media and then Max Life. And Max Life was where he got to realize his potential, going from number 9 to number 1 in online insurance. So the theme that then we continued building on that theme. And Bari mentioned about how he, being a Jagjit fan in first year, decided that in final year he is going to get Jagjit Singh on stage, and managed to get it, but that consumed all the budget. And then he did all kinds of Khuraphati things to make sure that that the budget gets increased and they have the extra money, but they still get it done. But I think those were really good examples of being very, very focused on your goals and then doing whatever it takes. And we also discussed that when you decide, when you're so focused, the paths open up, the friends emerge, the collaborators emerge. So it pays to have very clear focus on your goals, right? Then we talked about his stint with GE and a grounds up sort of view of their talent management processes. So few very good takeaways for anybody who's wanting to build an organization: take bets on people. There's no age bar for talent. Give diverse experiences to people. Geography, industry, disciplines, don't worry about those. Encourage people to try new things. Believe in rotating people and invest in training. Again, when he came to Max Life, we were curious about, when he talked about going from number 9 to number 1. And it was again about, the culture at Max Life, which is give people complete freedom, give them goals, and let them find the means to achieve those goals, and don't stand in their way. And again, a very, very interesting incident where he got drunk and the manager said, no, don't worry about it. If that's who you are, be that. I mean, you don't need to be apologetic about it, right? And then we talked about the spiritual journey, how Bari sort of came out of a personal crisis of a brain tumor, went into depression, but then leveraged that as an opportunity to sort of go deeper into various philosophies and spiritualities, and develop his own, which is like, find your own gift, find your own unique gift, and just be true to that. Then it will be fun, then it will be service to others, and it will, of course, pay for you, right? uh, and there were like various questions which came from the audience. Let me not get there. So I think a great session, Bari. I enjoyed it really, and it's like 1 hour doesn't seem to be enough any time in these chats.
I really want to thank your audience, people who joined in and people who will watch this video belatedly. Thank you very much for watching. And Jagdish and your team, Vinay, thank you very much. I really, really enjoyed this conversation. I enjoyed the pre-session so much, so I was sure that I would enjoy this much even more. And I had actually put in a LinkedIn post saying that how great I felt during the preparatory, how much effort you guys put in, the kind of questions, the quality of questions, the way you summarize, wrap up, invite the audience, keep this engaging. Wonderful. Thank you very much. It is a pleasure to be here.
Thank you so much, Bari, and thank you all our audience for attending and engaging. I know most of the people actually watch the recording, with this being a Saturday evening. So thank you everyone who's watching this recording. Please enjoy your family time, and thanks again, Bari, for joining us. See
Thank
you
you.
guys.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.